Do you love ice cream? What if it was so healthy you could eat it anytime, even for breakfast? Well, now you can with Nanas. You make your own treats that look and taste just like soft serve ice cream. But Nanas are made only with frozen fruit. Nanas is stoked to sponsor Dish with Eileen.
I love to cook Asian food. It usually includes combinations of flavors, salty, spicy, sweet, and tangy, that build on top of each other to have one final distinct taste. A dish of stir-fried rice noodles with veggies and coconut sauce is a fun way to enjoy pasta for dinner. I love making pad thai. It's one of my favorite Asian dishes that I tend to make almost every week because I get to incorporate all sorts of different vegetables in it. And Asian cooking, just like this pad thai dish, is all about preparation. We're just going to put a few components together and dinner is ready. So the first step is putting together the pad thai noodles. And this is something that I just simply cooked in boiling water for a few minutes, and I decided to just put it in cool water and wait until I'm finished at the end. And then we're going to add our sauce, our vegetables, and our sesame tofu to it at the end. So it's a great way to just start your dish. And the next thing that we're going to do is make our sesame tofu. And there are a couple of ways to get that tofu to actually be nice and crispy. First is we're just going to go ahead and cook this in a cast iron skillet. And what I like to do is add a little sesame oil at first as well. You can use vegetable oil, canola oil. I like to use sesame oil to help with the sesame flavor. But I'm also going to add some sesame seeds. So I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle this over, and it doesn't matter that it's not just on top of the tofu, just sprinkle it all over and in the pan. Now, a few tips to get this to get crispy. We're going to get this skillet nice and hot, but I first purchased the firm tofu. There's different kinds of tofu that you can get. I got the firm tofu. The second is you want to squeeze the liquid out of the tofu. Tofu will come in a container that's in some liquid. One way that you could squeeze that liquid out is put the tofu inside of a bowl and set a dish on top of the tofu, and then put a heavy canned good on top of that. Let it weigh down on the dish and start to squeeze the liquid out, then take your tofu out. The last is let this sit for as long as you can in the skillet before you want to turn it. If you start turning this early, it's going to become tofu scramble. So you're going to see, we're going to let it sit long enough before we flip it, and you're going to see there's going to be a nice crunch on this tofu. All right, so after this, we're going to go ahead and start making our sauce. To make the pad thai sauce, I'm going to incorporate a few sweet, sour, tangy notes, and I'm going to start with coconut milk. So I'm just going to add a little bit of coconut milk, and to that, to have a little bit of a tangy flavor, is going to be some rice vinegar. So I'm just going to mix in some rice vinegar. Real simple sauce. To that, I'm going to add some soy sauce. So this is going to add that salty element. So we've had a little bit of sweet, we have a little tangy. Now we have a little bit of salty that we're adding to this pad thai sauce. And to that, I'm going to add this as an ingredient that some folks might think is a little strange, but this is fish sauce. I'm going to add just a little bit of fish sauce to this, and it adds a really wonderful mellowing flavor to the pad thai sauce. Now, if you don't want to add fish sauce, you can just add all soy sauce, but I will tell you, my sister, who doesn't like fish, loves pad thai, and she knows there's fish sauce in it. She just can't really tell that it's in here, but it does create a wonderful kind of mellow balancing of flavors. So I think it's worth giving it a try. All right, to that, another little sweet note, and that's going to be some brown sugar. So we're just going to go ahead and mix that in as well. And then the last little bit is just a little bit of heat. So I like to add a little bit of red pepper sauce, a little hot sauce. That's your spicy element. Now, you can go as hot as you want or as cool as you want. You don't have to add any pepper sauce. But again, I think this is that beautiful blend of Asian flavors. Salty, sweet, spicy, tangy, sour. This is what makes Asian food so wonderful. They do such a great job, I think, of just combining all of these wonderful flavors all together to just make that wonderful, distinct flavor. So there is your simple pad thai sauce. Now that we've got our noodles ready, we've got our tofu cooking, we have our sauce made, The last piece is going to be just us sauteing up our vegetables. I've waited about 5 minutes, so now I'm going to go ahead and flip this tofu, which have a good crunch. There it is. That's what we're looking for. We're not making tofu scramble here. This has got a great, great crust on it. You see the sesame is sticking right to that tofu. So we're just going to flip it over and just let the other side cook through. And we'll finish up with our vegetables and just add it all together with the noodles and the sauce, and that will be it. I've sprayed a pan with some vegetable oil, but I'm going to add a little bit more toasted sesame oil just to add some flavor to our vegetables. All right, to start, I'm going to add a little bit of ginger. To that, I'm going to add some chopped garlic. Common ingredients in a pad thai or in Asian cooking, and I just love the smell of the two of those mixed up with that toasted sesame oil. To that, I'm going to start with some of my heavier, harder vegetables. So if I was to use carrots or celery, these would probably be some of the first ingredients that I would put in. So I'm going to start with my broccoli, and then to that, I'm going to go ahead and add my red bell pepper. I mean, red bell pepper, these are so high in vitamin C. This is considered a super antioxidant. This is a great addition. And again, we've got colors going on inside of here. So we've got our green and our red going on in here, and we're just going to go ahead, mix in that ginger, mix in that garlic. We're going to add a few more ingredients. Mushrooms, add these right to the pan. Mushrooms actually are really high in protein, so we're just going to mix this together. Oh, it smells good already. As much as we're layering vegetables, it's about layering some flavor as well. I like to add a little bit of garlic powder when I make my pad thai, so I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle some garlic powder in here. I like to add a little bit of black pepper. Just go ahead and sprinkle that in as well. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mix it. And then the last ingredient that I'm putting in here is bok choy. This is like a sweet cabbage. Again, a really wonderful addition to our pad thai. So let's mix that up. You'll see it's simple. Adding everything to a pot. This is it. The last bit is going to be just us adding our sauce, and then we're just going to let it cook down. That's all we do. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this wonderful pad thai sauce with that coconut milk, that soy sauce, a little bit of that fish sauce, and that rice vinegar. So we'll just wait until the vegetables start to cook down, but I want to make certain there still is a little bit of crunch left on those veggies. I don't want them to cook down too far. So this should be ready in probably about 5 to 7 minutes. We should be ready to plate up with our tofu, with our pad thai noodles, and then our vegetables and that yummy pad thai sauce. Our pad thai dinner is all about fresh ingredients. There is one item that does come from a box, and that's our pad thai noodles. The one thing that I like about this is the ingredient panel tells me there's 2 ingredients, brown rice flour and water. I'm also going to make certain I recycle this box. I have a bowl full of our pad thai noodles, these rice noodles that look just like linguine. Now I'm going to add our vegetables with that pad thai sauce that we made. So just layer that right on top. Here we go. And then to that, we're going to add that sesame tofu that we made. So we're just going to go ahead and layer that right on top. There we go. And we're just going to add a few more ingredients to finish this off. So we're going to add a little bit of cilantro. Just sprinkle that right over top. It's pretty green cilantro, and it adds a little more flavor, and it's nice to have something fresh with all those cooked vegetables. Some peanuts, nice crunch, a little more protein in there as well. Again, something you're going to commonly find in that Thai food. So we're just going to add some peanuts chopped up right over the top. And then the last bit, which I think is a really nice addition, is squeeze some fresh lime juice right over the top. I just think that adds so much flavor. It just really helps pop. So it's wonderful. We've just cooked vegetables. We've cooked tofu. We're going to add a few fresh ingredients right there at the end just to make it that much more delicious. We're going to toss that together, and then we have dinner. Let's take a bite of our pad thai. I love the ginger in there, and just a little little touch of spice. That is just a delicious, wonderful sauce that we made. That is some really tasty pad thai. To chew on more information and complete recipes, visit dishwitheileen.com.